Zombies 3 is an absolute joy, and in my opinion, a little better than Zombies 2. Maybe as good as Zombies 1. I wouldn't say it's better than the first Zombies film, but one of the main reasons I think it's better than the second is that I feel like visually it feels a little bit more like the first film. It's just a little bit stronger than the second, and I absolutely loved it. Zombies 3 was released in 2022. This is, of course, a Disney film. It's directed by Paul Hohen, and it's written by David Light and Joseph Razzo, and we have a cast including Meg Donnelly as Addison and Milo Manheim as Zed. I won't spoil anything that happens in this film, but there may be some spoilers for things that happen in the previous film. Addison and Zed are in their senior year. They're preparing for their final year, ready to move on to their next chapter, but first, before they can do that, they have to face some extraterrestrial beings who have landed in Seabrook. And to be honest, the story for the extraterrestrial beings, the reason why they're there, I wasn't that invested in it. But to be honest, I kind of felt the same way with the werewolves from the previous film. But it's just the fact that we have these other creatures, these other people who are giving us that same us versus them narrative. Obviously, with the first film, it was zombies versus, well, cheerleaders, non-zombies. With the second film, it was zombies and cheerleaders versus the werewolves. And now we have everybody else versus these alien characters. And I think that was a really great way to continue the main theme, the main messages of these films, but with a different angle. And I thought it was a really good decision. So while I didn't really care for the specifics of the narrative, I still thought it was a great idea. I think it was a really great approach. I really liked the new characters. So the stories, the characters, everything worked really, really well. And I have absolutely no complaints there at all. The colour palette is sensational, pretty much from the first frame. I don't know if that's a fact, but it was pretty immediate. The colour palette is just absolutely sensational. And this is one of the things I loved about the first film. The second film still had that element, but for some reason it just didn't feel as strong. But this one is bringing that back into the front. Visually, so strong, so captivating. The costumes are absolutely gorgeous. The performances are brilliant. The music is great. These are musicals, and that part of it was always going to appeal to me. And I do think the musical aspect is very, very well handled. And I feel like there's nothing about this that I didn't enjoy. As I said, I wasn't overly invested in the specifics of the narrative, but I still enjoyed following the characters. It's great to follow Addison and Zed on the next chapter of their journey, and I had a lot of fun with this. If you loved the first film, loved the second, I think you'll really love this one. If you loved the first, but you weren't that bothered about the second, I'd say still give this one a go. Maybe it's just personal preference, but I found this to be more interesting. And that's quite interesting to me because I'm not really a fan of sci-fi. The whole extraterrestrial alien thing in general doesn't appeal to me. We'll ignore my 10, 15-year Doctor Who addiction. I'm no longer really that bothered about Doctor Who, but for a long time it had my heart. But despite that, not really a huge fan of that kind of sci-fi. I do prefer werewolves and that kind of darker, more traditional gothic element. And despite that, I thought the third film, for me, was a stronger experience. So I don't know what that means, but I'm surprising myself by that. And again, if like me, you feel like you would have preferred the second film, it still might be worth checking this one out, even if you weren't that bothered about film number 2, because I thought it was very, very well done. It ticks every single box. Looking forward to watching the fourth one. I have absolutely no idea what it's about at all. I haven't looked ahead with each of these. I've just waited until I've sat down to watch it. Looking forward to finding out. And for now, I'm pleased to say that Zombies 3 is pretty fabulous and definitely a film that's worth watching.